What's going on, everyone? So Kevin Durant has officially been traded, and he was traded to the Houston Rockets. Now, obviously, the San Antonio Spurs were a team that were in the mix, but in the last 24 hours, based on reports, it was the Miami Heat and the Houston Rockets, with the Houston Rockets being the team that came out ahead. Now, I'm surprised this happened before the NBA Finals. Like, literally, Game 7 is today, and they made this announcement, so I'm sure the NBA is probably not super happy and thrilled about that. Two, Houston got him at an excellent price, right? Like, they didn't give up any core pieces. The package doesn't really make sense for the Phoenix Suns unless they end up trading and rerouting Jalen Green. Maybe there's more to this. This is just kind of the shell of the trade between Phoenix and the Houston Rockets, and maybe Phoenix is going to look to kind of package maybe even the 10th pick and Jalen Green, but they ended up getting Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the number 10 pick in this upcoming draft, as well as 5 second-round picks. So they didn't get any of their own picks back. They didn't get any of the young core guys back other than like Jalen Green, but they have Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. Jalen Green makes no sense. Like, I don't get that at all. So my guess is that Jalen Green probably gets rerouted. I don't think that they're going to trade Devin Booker. There was some murmurs about like, hey, what about the Spurs going after a Devin Booker? If that becomes an option, then maybe that's the route that they go. We'll see what the Phoenix Suns end up doing. I kind of feel like, wait, the Spurs couldn't have done matched this or done better than this. I mean, in all honesty, right? I mean, even if you gave up like an extra first and got Kevin Durant, but again, the Spurs probably didn't look at it, which I said that I didn't really look at it, and that I don't really believe that Kevin Durant by himself is enough to elevate the Spurs to title contention. Also, if you go trade for Kevin Durant, then you're all in. Right? Like, you can't go trade for a 37-year-old and go, we're going to carve this out for the next 2 or 3 years. At that point, he's already gone, right? So, again, for the Spurs, it's like, does he raise the ceiling enough to where it's worth it and now you're a title contender, like a true contender? I didn't believe so, and clearly the Spurs didn't either, because if the Spurs did, they would have traded whatever they had to. You give up the number 2 pick, you give up Stephon Castle, you give up whatever you have to, if you believe that that's the guy that could put you and elevate you over the top. If you believe Kevin Durant, De'Aaron Fox, and Victor Wembanyama is enough with, other core guys, but guys around you to go win a championship, you do that all day long. I don't believe that the Spurs believe that. Now, obviously, this means that the Spurs missed out on Kevin Durant. So what do they do now? Where do they pivot now? And, I want to go kind of more in detail in that in a separate video. But to me, I think it's simple. You just kind of stay the course and you wait for the next move. If Giannis becomes available, then maybe you make a play at Giannis, right? If, another guy becomes available, you make a play. Here's the problem, though, is Houston's still going to be in the mix for basically anybody because they didn't trade anybody. They got Kevin Durant for Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks, right? So they still have all their young guys. They still have all their picks. They still have everything to kind of go, even if a Giannis becomes available, kind of give a Godfather offer for Giannis and have a Giannis and KD with, Şengün or whatever, however they want to approach this, right? But regardless, right? Like, I still think and have my questions about Kevin Durant on Houston. Where does that elevate them? Right? So my question is what is Houston going to do? Are they going to go all in now? Because again, same thing with the Spurs. Any team that trades for Kevin Durant, you have to go all in. It doesn't make sense to trade for Kevin Durant to not go all in, to give it a year or 2 or 3. Because at that point, he's already gone. So to me, what's Houston's next play? And so if you're the Spurs, is it in your best interest to kind of just, again, stay the course? Right? Go draft Dylan Harper, bring him in. If you can turn the 14th pick into a piece or whatever, then fine. If not, then keep the 14th pick. It's not a big deal. It's not like, oh man, what are the Spurs? No, it's fine. Right? And that was the thing, and that was my whole point, this entire journey, right? Was that they don't need to force the issue. Right? If your worst case scenario is you're drafting a potential franchise guy in Dylan Harper and you have to draft another potential role guy, rotation player with the 14th pick, and you still have all your assets, Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, It's a pretty good position to be in. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean that the Spurs are probably winning a championship this year, but, again, who knows what ends up happening later on down the pike? Like, one of the things that I've said is that the Spurs can remain patient. That next guy will be available. Every few months, there's a new star that becomes available or a new player that becomes available or whatever, right? Like, so just stay the course. Now, there's talks about them going after a Jaylen Brown, a Giannis Antetokounmpo if they were to miss out on a Kevin Durant. So is that something that they do? Do they now kind of go offer huge packages to the Celtics to try to go get a, guy like a Jaylen Brown? Do they, maybe make a Godfather offer to a team like the Milwaukee Bucks? We're going to see. I mean, there's going to be a lot of moving parts still, whether it involves the Spurs or not, right? I think that this is going to be a very crazy, hectic offseason. I think you're going to have multiple teams trying to make moves, right? Obviously, Houston, they got Kevin Durant. What's their next move? Does Denver make any moves? What does Denver do? The Lakers are going to be active, right? What do the Clippers and some of these other teams, Memphis, what do they continue to do, right? You have a lot of these teams. If OKC loses in the NBA Finals, what do they do? Right? Do they kind of hit the panic button and go like, we weren't supposed to lose, and end up going in and doing something silly, right? Like, you never know. There's a lot of things that could end up happening. That's not counting what happens with the East, what happens with like Miami since they missed out on Kevin Durant. What do they do? Do they stay the course? So there's going to be a lot of action, I think, going on this upcoming offseason. I'm really excited for it. I mean, even Sham said he's prepared for this to be one of the craziest, if not the craziest, off seasons in NBA history, right? Because again, you're going to have a lot of moving parts. The new CBA changes a lot and does a lot. And again, if you're the Spurs, you're fine. You're in great shape, right? Stay the course. Wait for that opportunistic trade, right? De'Aaron Fox was an opportunistic trade. It was a trade that, they were very active in trying to get an all-star point guard in last offseason. Right, Darius Garland, De'Aaron Fox, right, Trae Young, these guys were all linked to the San Antonio Spurs, and they weren't able and missed out on all of them. And then fast forward, and you look up, and it's like, oh, we just got, we just got De'Aaron Fox. Sorry, I got Kevin Durant on the brain. We just got De'Aaron Fox. And you got him for pennies on the dollar. You still kept all your core guys and all your assets and all that stuff. Right? So you were able to get a guy that now can be your franchise point guard for the next 6+ years. Right? Wait for that next move. There will be that next opportunistic trade. Or there will be that trade where this is the move. Right? This is the play. Right? Maybe it's a Giannis. Maybe it's a Devin Booker. Maybe it's somebody else where it's like, oh, good thing we waited. Where if you went and made the Kevin Durant trade and you did overpay and you did pony up and now you're looking and you're like, man, now this guy becomes available and it's like, that's the guy that, and I get one in the hand is worth two in the bush, right? If you can get a guy now, get a guy now. And then, who knows who becomes available or what becomes available or if that guy even makes sense for you, right? There's always going to be those questions. But again, who knows? Who knows what ends up happening? Right? I mean, you could fast forward and there could be, Jokic could be like, I want out, Denver's a mess. Like, whatever. I'm not saying that would happen, but you never know. You never know what that next trade, what that next move is that is going to maybe put you in even better position. And it's like, okay, good. The Spurs did their job in being and remaining patient, right? Stay the course. Trust the process. Right? You got a great young core and foundation. You can always move guys. Like, it's not like, oh, because you drafted Dylan Harper, teams are going to be like, we don't want Dylan Harper no more. No, he's still going to have as much value, maybe even more because you can add him as a salary, if he's actually on the roster or drafted, right? Guy like Stephon Castro is still going to maintain his value. Again, if that right guy comes along. If not, you keep those guys, you figure it out, you build, you grow. If you have to trade De'Aaron Fox at some point because Dylan Harper really becomes that guy, then you do that, whatever it is. You stay the course and you find the right moves and right actions. All right? This is something that, obviously it's a bummer because it would have been nice to have Kevin Durant. Right? I don't think that this is like a bummer in the sense of like, oh my, like, man, Spurs are never, like, no, like, it's not, it's one of those things where it's like, I would have loved to have Kevin Durant. If Kevin Durant would have been a Spur, that would have been fantastic. I really think he would have done wonders for Victor Wembanyama and helping him develop and grow and all that stuff. There was a potential in a version of that was really good and a lot of fun to watch and maybe even a title contender, right? But it's okay. Like, again, Kevin Durant, you got a limited window, you got what you would have to give up potentially. It's probably too much because you would have had to at least outbid Houston in that package, right? So I'm okay with the Spurs just kind of staying the course. We'll see, right? I would have loved to have Kevin Durant. Didn't happen, no problem. You're fine. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. As always, this is a discussion. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot as we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.